Here for some plan?
I picked up something you might be interested in.
I need that Rothosite if we want to complete the neuroamp.
I'm just concerned the entire
Good,
station is
you're
being
here.
outlined.
It's time to put a plan in motion to take full control of this situation with Infinity Ltd. In due time. We don't know to what extent Infinity has taken the current neuroamp schematics, so our top priority is completing our own. Let me introduce you to Veena Kalra, Head of Research and Development. She'll give you the initial details.
Yes, details. You see, the internal neuroamp is supposed to consist of two parts. The first part, the part Infinity stole, handles the manipulative effects. The second part is a shielding modification designed to protect the user against other neuroamp users. Well, we can't, but the shielding aspect was never officially a part of Project Dominion. It was an afterthought of how to safeguard our own people from being manipulated, so it was being researched separately as a mod. The research itself was in early stages, too early for board approval, so only myself, DeMarcus, and Masako know about it. Big time. We'd be the only ones unaffected.
No one wants their greatest asset used against them. Once Veena can complete the internal neuroamp and shielding mod, the plan is to outfit you with both and have you infiltrate Infinity Ltd. We can't risk the assignment until we know your mind has the necessary protection.
I think implanting that device into your head is a mistake. But it's your choice, not mine.
You're a Ryujin employee, and we need a job done. We've trusted you this far, so I feel it's safe to continue the trend. Good. That's all I wanted to hear.
And all I need is the last piece of the puzzle. The final kink in both designs was finding compatible materials to use for conductivity that the human body wouldn't reject. I've finally created the perfect alloy, but it requires a newly discovered refined element called Rothosite.
Which is where I come in. We have a confidential contract with Consolidated Mining to gather, refine, and ship the Rothosite straight to us. Their last shipment is late, and neither we nor Consolidated Mining have had any communication with the Carinae station. Correct. The updates have been regular up until now. Last we heard, the shipment was ahead of schedule.
We need you to head out there, secure the shipment, and bring it back here so Vina can complete her prototype. And I want to know what happened. We need to take any safety measures to make sure this doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, yes, so be prepared. Extensive tests and research were done on the planet, so the chances that this is environmental are slim. And setting up a station like this is second nature for consolidated mining, with plenty of redundancies in place to handle mechanical failures.
The mining station is CM Station RC-1. It's on a moon called Carinae 3A in the Carinae system. The shipment should be in the research and control tower, but the outside doors are kept locked down. This keycard will let you enter the mines so you can access the tower from the inside. Good luck.
Let's hope for the best. Don't worry, we'll figure it out and get that shipment back.
I wonder how many life forms are roaming this planet. Time to find out.
You'd think we'd be a prime target for pirates, but they know to stay away from this spot.
Welcome to Paradiso. Jiro Sukiyama at your service. Do you have a security concern, or is there something else I can help you with? Honestly, it's not as exciting as you might think most of the time. More often than not, we're just handling drunk and disorderly conduct. Heck, even pirates leave us alone for the most part. I think it's because some of them actually vacation here. As long as they're not bothering anyone, we've been told not to worry about them. Neither. We're our own private force. The Paradiso group pays top dollar for top-notch security. And I dare say we're some of the best in the business. We have to be out here on the fringes of the settled systems. Ah, yes, of course. I'm glad you came. As you can imagine, we're in a bit of a predicament. Under normal circumstances, we would not enlist outside help in this manner. But this is a matter we can't afford to worry our guests about. As such, we need to handle this discreetly. Failure on your part to do so could have severe consequences. So, before we proceed, can you swear not to discuss this with anyone else unless explicitly directed to do so? You're right. We're not. Which means we're not bound by anyone's laws but our own. In other words, it's our system and our rules. Neither the UC nor the Freestar Collective will help you if you get into trouble here. Great. I appreciate it. Not too long ago, a strange and enormous ship appeared in Parima space. It is now locked in orbit around our planet. So far, it doesn't seem to be hostile, but any attempts to communicate with it have been in vain, so we're unsure of the ship's intentions. Can't say for sure. Looks worn, but not cobbled together like a Crimson Fleet junker. Others have been saying it's some new Varun design, a gigantic battleship with hidden armaments preparing for assault, but that doesn't check out either. There's also been talk about non-human sentient life. The comms data we received might support that, but humanity's spread far and wide and no one's ever encountered anything like that. Still, first contact. Could you imagine? Not quite. It took some time, but we received a transmission. It was all, pardon the phrasing, it sounded almost alien, like nothing anyone's heard before. Clicks, distorted groans, buzzing, really disturbing sounds. Now, one of our engineers says it could just be some busted comm equipment or incompatible signals, but we're not sure. So far, no one's disembarked from the ship. No landing craft, nothing. We don't have the staff or ships to spare, otherwise we'd dock with it and attempt to board. It bears no discernible markings or allegiances to any manufacturers we're aware of. I'm hoping that doesn't mean we're dealing with some sort of new deep space threat. It is. Whatever's going on, we need to approach this with care. First, see if you have more luck communicating with them. If not, you may have to try boarding. Whatever you do, it's important to remember to seek diplomacy with who or whatever's on board. As soon as you have any more information, report to Oliver Campbell. He's the CEO of Paradiso. All formal decisions will need to go through him, and he'll have your pay. Good luck.
Cap.
I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
And we're locked in.
I have something for you when you have a moment.
Stay alert. Weapons at the ready.
You're human. It's just that we weren't expecting to find life, let alone human life out here. We thought we were the only ones to leave Earth.
Imagine being cut off from humankind for that long. How terribly frightening that would be.
Perhaps we should greet our guests.
Of course. Manners. I'm Captain Diana Brackenridge. This is Security Officer Bomani Reader. And this is Dr. Mabuti da Costa, one of our elders.
A pleasure to meet you.
I see. As you may have presumed, we're in a bit of a bind. Our ship has finally completed its near 200-year journey from Earth, only to find our new home seemingly colonized by... well, we don't know. Communications haven't been successful, so your arrival is fortuitous. Perhaps you'd be willing to act as a middle person between ourselves and... the others. Sorry, we're not entirely sure. Our engineers believe it's possible that our technology just isn't compatible with theirs. All we hear when using them to communicate with anyone is a bunch of disturbing noise. It gave me the heebie-jeebies at first. Well, the short answer is, we didn't. It's a generation ship, which is to say that most of us lived long, happy lives on board and passed our mission down to our children. It was never intended that the original crew would make it to our destination. The goal was always the preservation of the human race above all else. Though, it would seem that was perhaps a bit presumptuous. We do. Well, sort of. We saw structures using our surveying equipment. We've also seen the various ships pass us by. Some even seemed to want to communicate, but couldn't. Of course, we had no idea that they were being piloted by other humans. Ah, your question confirms one of our recent theories. It would seem that some form of faster-than-light travel or space-bending technology was invented during our long journey. That would explain why we would find people this far out into space. I guess technology leapfrogged us at some point. Interesting. I can only imagine that our predecessors didn't believe the technology would ever work, and so they made the decision to leave when they did. Oh yes, of course. Where are my manners? Now then, please follow me. There's much to discuss first. We'll speak more on the matter once we reach the bridge. Dr. DaCosta, you may return to your quarters if you wish.
Thank you, Captain.
I will follow you to the bridge, ma'am. For security purposes.
I do not believe we have need to fear our guest, but I'll allow it if you insist. Welcome to the Earth colony ship Constant. In the early 2100s, my ancestor, Rupert Brackenridge, researched a number of scientific scenarios: climate change, asteroid impact, nuclear war, global pandemic, and more. Each scenario showed the likelihood of an extinction-level event to be within 50 years. He fully believed Earth was destined to be rendered uninhabitable. We've always assumed that's what happened.
The Constant
he
is a
gathered the
peaceful
best
ship.
and brightest he could
Don't
find,
change
built
that.
the Constant, and set a course for this planet here. We were told that it was the largest, most advanced ship ever constructed on Earth at the time. If you can believe, entire generations have been born, lived, and died on this ship. It really goes to show that there are no limits to human ingenuity and perseverance.
We were never trained to address threats coming from outside our ship.
Just because our equipment's old doesn't mean...
I have to say, with technology this outdated, I'm amazed that this vessel is able to navigate at all. It's almost like walking through a museum.
Now that you're here, I can finally give my crew a chance at a new life. I think I'm coming up on 6 years now. I was only a teenager when my father died, passing command of the ship to me, as is tradition. Because of that, I've had to sort of learn as I go along, instead of taking years of study and apprenticeship under the prior captain. I think some people on the ship resent me for not having the level of experience as my predecessors. But at the same time, without my command, we likely wouldn't have made it here so quickly. A bit frazzled, as you can imagine. People are anxious about discovering that we're not alone, and also worried about what will come to pass. While we hope we can work out a deal with the people on the surface, they seem reluctant to reach out, so there's no telling what will come of that. I do know that we can't afford to stay here in orbit forever. The ship was built to sustain us for many years with backup provisions just in case, but even that will come to an end eventually. Difficult is the wrong word. It can be both challenging at times and also exciting. Our mission was to rebuild humanity on a distant world, believing that we were Earth's last hope. To think that while there has always been a Brackenridge in the captain's chair, that I am the one to finally oversee our journey's end is truly exhilarating. But with this stumbling block in our path, at this final moment, I fear tough choices will need to be made. Well, as I mentioned, we've been unsuccessful in communications with anyone up until you arrived, though not for lack of trying. But since you're asking, maybe you'd be willing to be a sort of diplomat between us and them as we attempt to resolve our situation. Does that sound agreeable to you? We suspect that our equipment is woefully obsolete compared to whatever you all have now. In all honesty, we never expected to need to communicate with anyone, so our comms aren't particularly robust. That limits our options. We even attempted communicating with lights and sounds, something we saw in an old movie, but I don't believe they picked up on it. If anything, it may have inadvertently alarmed them. Ah, so they have a name. Paradiso. And it sounds promising that they sent you here to speak with us. You see, we intended to settle here, but we assumed that they intend to defend their claim given their presence here. We'd like you to go speak to them on our behalf and help us negotiate a solution, preferably one that favors us. Excellent. Make no mistake, this is our planet, and we intend for them to see this our way. So, speak with their leadership and see if you can negotiate a solution on our behalf. Preferably, get them to see things our way. Report back to me and let me know what they say, and we'll go from there. We thought about it, but it simply won't do. I need to think about the distant future of our people. Sure, our first settlement may be small, but our predecessors dreamt of our new civilization spreading across the globe. That will be difficult if someone else plans to do the same. While we're not completely close to the idea of sharing, it's much easier if we have complete domain over this world. Now, it makes little sense to give up before you try. Thank you, and good luck.
We got strict rules around here. Now that we know what's out there, things are going Just stay out of trouble.
Keeping a 200-year-old ship running is no easy task.
Never seen a ship like yours before. Then again, I haven't seen any ships.
There's so much more to learn about now. Hey there.
Hydroponics, of course. This must be how the colony ship kept itself fed over all these years in space. And to think, all this time we thought we were blind. Perhaps I can soon retire.
I wonder what else is up.
I wonder what it's like out there. Careful waving that fancy now that we know what's out there.
Heading off right away, or do you need a little bit of time?
Yes, your immaculateness. What can I do for you?
We've detached. Let's get out of here.
I have things for you.
It may be paradise, but that doesn't mean we don't run it.
Excuse me. Things for you.
Excuse me, you can't just waltz in there. Do you have an appointment? Oh, you're the one they're waiting for then. Do you need anything else from me before you meet with the board? What I could tell you would get me in a lot of trouble. Most of them are typical sea-level execs. I doubt you even need to use your imagination for that. The ones that show up to work day to day, at least. I swear, I've never even met some of them, because they chill at their own private, secluded beach homes all the time. Anyway, be smart around Oliver. He's got a way of getting what he wants without you realizing it. And that's all I'll say. People were a little freaked out around here, understandably. It looks so different and it's so massive. We honestly thought we were under attack by an unknown entity. But then, nothing happened. It just stayed there. No one could communicate with it. And we've been very careful not to alert the resort guests. The board believed it would be bad for business. I can't speak for anyone else, but I've got a pretty high-pressure job working as the executive assistant to the Paradiso board. You can imagine, dealing with a team of execs, trying to manage all of their schedules and their other whims. But it pays well, and they give me a nice executive suite at the hotel to live in, so it's not all bad. Free access to all the resort's amenities after work helps too. Sure. Have fun in the Shark Tank. And don't worry, even they call it that.
Yeah?
I just feel that we
Come on,
should
mate.
be
Loads
focusing
more
on the
interesting
natural
things to see
beauty
outside.
of this planet.
Don't need to mill
not
about
our
in here.
amenities.
Not quite. We just don't answer to the Freestar Collective or the United Colonies. Makes things easier. We don't pay any taxes, we don't need to follow their laws. All the benefits, none of the drawbacks. And no one minds because half the politicians and other big shots love vacationing here. Works for everyone. We, the Paradiso Group, bought the rights to this planet years ago with the intent of turning it into the biggest and best resort in the universe. To that end, I'd say we've succeeded. As such, no other leisure enterprises may operate on the planet without renting land from us. But as you can see, none can afford such a deal. No, of course not. There's several more. We're just the ones who show up day to day. The others spend their time lazing on the beach or gallivanting off-world. Doesn't bother me, though. Less cooks in the kitchen means I get to make all the big decisions around here. Seems to be working out for us just fine. I am. And you must be the diplomat Jiro told me about. Welcome, welcome. Normally I'd offer you an all-inclusive stay at our resort before we spoke. But given the circumstances, I'm going to cut to the chase. We've got our friends, the aliens, up there, causing all sorts of problems for our resort. You like that? The marketing team came up with it. The thought is, if we can't get rid of them, it might actually attract more tourism. Come see the aliens! We run a premier resort getaway here. We can't have our guests concocting stories about some budgy old ship hanging around up there. As it is, we've had to reroute our luxury liners around the other side of the planet on entry so no one sees it. It's bad for business. We need to nip this in the bud and take care of it before the tourists catch on and cause a scene. You'd be surprised what people fall for. Locally sourced island fruit essences, for instance. It's just the same old fruits brought over from Earth ages ago, but we get nearly 10 times the market for them. But you're right, no one's gonna buy aliens. Remind me to fire the marketing team. So tell me, what's the actual deal with this massive eyesore of a ship, besides scaring people away? No worries, mate, but my time is valuable. That's so. I imagine some sort of old pre-collapse colony ship thinking they've got a claim here. Well, they don't. And that ship's presence is bad for business. We need it to bugger off ASAP. Now, tell me, what are we going to do about it? Give me some proposals, people. I need something to work with here.
We could offer to resettle them here. There's more than enough space.
They could stay here, temporarily, but it'll cost them. Quite a bit, too. They'd need to work off all their debts before being allowed to leave.
Maybe not. What if we help them get out of here? Outfit their ship with a grav drive so they can find a new home. We could even lend our engineers to help and give their captain an updated star map. What do you think?
Sounds costly. We can't absorb that cost, and it's unlikely they even have compatible currency, let alone enough for the transaction. Someone else would have to foot the bill.
Oh, I swear this would be a lot easier if they ceased to exist entirely. Anyway, Seema's got the right idea. Either works for me. Just tell me what you want to do. We own this planet, they don't. Here at Paradiso, we don't like leaving things to chance. Who knows what these people will do with their land? Imagine the landscaping disasters they may come up with, and how that might mar the satellite imagery of the planet in our brochures. No, much better to assimilate them into our culture if they come here to live, rather than leave it to chance. Are we talking or not? Well, absurd or not, that's our official stance. I make the decisions that are best for our entire group. You don't. We operate outside of the Free Stars only, you see, partially because we don't want anyone else meddling in our affairs. And we'd rather not draw attention to it. As I've mentioned, it could be bad for business. We'd much rather settle this independently. I'm not suggesting anything, other than it would make our lives so much easier if that ship ceased existing. Make of that what you will. It's not our responsibility to bear the brunt of that cost. We're being more than generous by offering the use of our engineering team to help install it. A custom grav drive can't come cheap, and I assume they have neither the monetary means nor the connections to get a hold of that kind of technology. That leaves the only other party in this negotiation. You. Oh, I didn't say that specifically. This would be a mutual contract for room and board in exchange for services rendered. Of course, there's no telling how long this arrangement will last, given the substantial costs we'd need to take on in order to accommodate them here, including their continued room and board. But this may save the resort on operating costs in the long term, as we'd be able to let go of some of our current paid staff. And which proposal will you be taking to the good captain? I assume there's a captain? They'd be hard-pressed to defend their claim in any courts. Our charter goes back years. It was registered with both the UC and Freestar Collective, per the Centaurus Proclamation. We may be outside the settled systems, but that charter as official as can be. I'm sorry, but you're going to need to be the one to break the news to them that they need to make a compromise or leave. I have no idea, because I'm not suggesting anything of the sort. But it's a wonder that old ship made it all the way here in such a relatively short time. Must have really been pushing themselves. An engineer friend of mine told me once that the reactors on those old ships have a tendency to self-destruct if they overload. Of course, their engineers must have taken great care not to push it too far. Someone would likely have to override the safety systems in the reactor computer. But who would do such a thing?
Don't even think for one moment that this would be acceptable behavior. You can't just blow up their ship. That's insane.
Right. Assuming they agree to the terms, I've got a list of resources you'll need to gather and bring back so we can support the new arrivals. We'll need to improve our lodging and infrastructure, plus account for future projects to support an increased population. Don't care how you procure them, just make sure to bring them here with you before we can consider this a done deal.
Oh, how can we treat these people this way? They survived in space this long, only to end up as indentured servants. Oh, it's terrible.
Right. On behalf of the Paradiso Group, we appreciate your help.
There are millions of planets out there. People can go to any one of them. The resort facilities are precisely what we bring to the table. Heck, it's the only thing we've really got to offer.
What?
Green lights on outer hatch. We're docked.
I have something for you when you have a moment.
The Constant is a peaceful ship.
These are exciting times.
Careful waving that fancy gun around. We don't need to see what it can do.
I don't have much to spare. But if you are ever interested, Hey! I've lived my entire life.
Just stay out.
We were never trained to address threats.
We've got strict rules around here, but they're strict for a reason.
Just because our equipment's old.
Never seen a ship like yours before. But then again, I haven't seen any ships. Now that we know what's out there, things are going. We didn't believe anyone would be out here, but I'm glad for it. What's the good word? Then I'd need to know what that catch is before I could form an opinion. That doesn't sound so bad. My crew will need to get used to working for a living anyway. This seems agreeable. Is that all? I'm not sure what we can spare. I'm thinking. Perhaps there are resources in storage we can scrounge up or recycle. I'm trying to be reasonable here. Tell you what, talk to Daisuke and he'll get you what we can spare. If you succeed, we'll see about finding some other ways to repay you as well. Thank you. Safe travels to you.
Had to do it. Our fair share of recycling on the constant. Not exactly a lot of places to get new goods. Hi there. Oh! Nice to meet you. And that's true. As you can imagine, everyone kind of just knows each other around here. Meeting new people isn't really a thing for us. I mean, I don't appreciate you telling me I just need to get over it, but you're not wrong. Everything changed when you arrived. I suspect I'll need to get used to the idea of strangers. Anyway, sorry for freezing up before. I just didn't expect our visitor from the outside to stop by and chat with me. I figured, if anything, you'd be with the captain. I'm Daisuke, the ship's provisions manager. I'm not sure what I can offer you, but if I can help, I will. And if not, I'm happy just to talk. Oh yeah, she sent me a message. I have everything for you right here. It's all we can spare, so I sure hope you come through for us. Need anything else? Can I still help you? We manage. I know back on Earth, there used to be stores all over the place. Some that even specialize in specific types of goods, if you can imagine. But here, this is it. We have very limited supplies. Most of our stuff is recycled. Even the food. In a roundabout way, if you know what I mean. It works out for the most part, because it has to. You'll sense a running theme with that around here. Not really. Things don't work that way here. It's not a shop like you hear about in the books and movies, or, where you're probably from. Almost everything is communal or shared in some way, but sometimes people want a little something extra or special for themselves. So when that happens, they come to me. Mostly, I just keep track of the ship's inventory and help ration the supplies so we don't run out. See you around.
Sure is nice to... Oh, there are other people out. There.
Wow, I've heard about you, but...
I picked up something you might be interested in. Picked up something you might be interested in.
Just because the governor's office is right out there on the main level.
Days like these, it's hard not to get away.
Mining's fair work, but you can't take it all so seriously, I always tell my mates. We're pulling rocks out of the ground, not building spaceships. Welcome, welcome. Nice to meet you. Name's Trevor. Mining Director for the Deimos Mining Project here in scenic underground Sidonia. I could spare a minute or two to chat. So long as you're not looking for mining work, I suppose. Argos, huh? Yeah, I've heard of them. That's great, but yeah, unfortunately all our mining contracts are filled right now. Unless, maybe you could help me out with a job, off the books. Great! I promise it's nothing that'll get anyone in any kind of trouble. See, you might have noticed that our equipment ain't exactly holding together like it used to. Problem is, we can't get new equipment unless we start exceeding our quotas, and we can't do that until we get new equipment. A real dilemma, right? I've got a plan for solving our little problem, though. Okay, glad you're still on board. First, I need someone from the outside to bolster our yields so we can prove that we can exceed our quota. I'll fill you in on the rest of the details after you've hauled up some ore. One standard quota should do. I need to know I can trust you with the easy stuff first. Yeah, don't you think I want to? Corporate sets the contracts and they're not giving out anymore, so we work with what we've got. Something to do with insurance, benefits, and other liabilities, so I don't make the rules. When you've got enough, drop it off in the bin over there for processing. Then come see me.
In order to avoid injury, please report any spills or unsafe conditions on the upper level to the Sidonia Department of Public Works.
Any clue how irresponsible you're acting right now? I can't imagine being stuck down here gathering
rocks for a living when there's an entire universe to explore?
Am I glad I got this job?
Okay. I can see you're serious about helping me. Great. Now, the next part is a little trickier. Our Director of Mining Operations, Peter Brennan, fired his last assistant over a month ago. Peter's the only one who can approve the order for new equipment, and unfortunately, he's useless without an assistant. I think I've got a surefire way for you to get that job. Then you, as his assistant, can get him to sign off on the approval. We just need you to take the job until we get the approval signed. Then you can quit, keep it, or do whatever. It's not as bad as it sounds. Worst case scenario, you may have to go fetch some stuff for him and go over his messages. It'll be easy, I promise. Now hold on, it's not that easy. You'll need to apply for it like anyone else. Head to the Deimos Star Yard's office up in orbit to fill out the application. It's where that job is posted. Come back and see me when you've done that, and we'll talk about how to secure the position for you.
You're jumping through a lot of hoops to get those miners the equipment that they need.
The city of Sidonia is...
We're ready to depart.
Pressure holding. Takeoff full speed. Orbital insertion completed. Good to go for land. Looks peaceful from up here, doesn't it?
We've arrived!
moment.
Do you think the documentary about your life will be made into a movie? And who do you think will...
Dust off complete. Achieving orbit now.
United Colonies space. Maintain current course while we scan for contraband. Scan complete. Welcome to Mars. You are cleared to land at Sidonia.